praising me, putting me at a very high pedestal. I do not deserve such much of praise because of varieties of reasons. But certainly, when he does speak like that, I feel I am more responsible, and my burden increases, intellectual burden increases, to put forward my ideas in a very systematic manner so that I can reach everybody at equal length. That is something which is a great challenge for me. Let me tell you, my dear respected colleagues of this university, with whom I worked for 2 years or so, and my beloved students, I really love you, all of you. It is kind of a homecoming for me to this university. When VC talked to me over telephone, I said, fine, I'll come, but then I would like to meet my colleagues and the students of the especially social science department. Agreed immediately, yes, and this I can meet only through some sort of interaction, some forum I wanted to interact with you all. So I thought this is the best forum through which I can talk to you, interact with you, to know you, you know me, and all that. Having said that, let me start by saying that it is a forum that I was seeking for to share with you some of my confusions while working in the field of environmental economics or in the field of environmental development economics. I have my own confusions, my doubts, and I'm not able to answer those questions I have in my mind. So perhaps I thought if I discuss my problem with you, maybe that I'll be able to sort out those kind of problems. I may be able to respond to those kind of queries. But, well, this is the process that I have chosen. Maybe that immediately after that, I'll have to speak somewhere in Delhi on the same issue which I opted for. This is the question that arose in my mind. Let me tell you very honestly, when I was working with the World Bank team way back in 2007 and 8, there was a huge team throughout the world. There's 120 people together from all branches of social sciences. So in our team, there are 12 people. And in these 12 people, we were given the job for what is going to be the future agriculture of the Afro-Asian countries in the years to come by 2050. It's a very huge exercise, both statistical and qualitative. So here, I had serious questions on different aspects, especially on the whole issue of sustainable development, especially when you find the earth is facing a serious problem of climate change. So then, the issue was discussed. I think 7 or 8 countries were represented in that particular forum, discussed and all that. We are all discussing the same issues here through varieties of angles. But then, it was not solved, and finally, whatever we decided not being accepted by the World Bank Authority, and therefore, whatever they wanted us to put it, I put it, and then we discussed about it. Look, by 2015, now none of us are going to survive. Come what may, let the next generation find out what the way out is, all of that. Kept it there. The whole thing is being published in a book form, but that is different. Now, the cue that I want to take from there is that there are certain unresolved critical issues that I had in my mind. I could not address them properly in any forum, nor I had the time to address them. Now that I had got a lot of time, I have been working in that area very consistently. So I thought that I must share with you some of the confusion that I have in mind, which I had at that time I could not resolve. So let me just talk to you about that one. Is that all right? Now the question is that, let me start with this one. The first issue, why do you need to address sustainable development? Why not only development only? It's a very simple question, but we need to answer. Everywhere you say development economics or development and growth. But why don't you say sustainable development and growth? Again, a big question. We are giving a lip service to sustainable issue. Now, but this is a big issue. Is it only to be confined to those who have been working in the area of sustainable development, or UNDP, for example, or what is called, that they put the sustainable goals, 17 goals to be completed, to be filled up, to be fulfilled by 2030. To the best of my understanding, in fact, I had a big fight, rather argument, where one UNDP representative just a few years ago on the whole issue, when the Millennium Development Goal flopped. you must have heard about the Millennium Development Goal is flopped because 2015 तक उसको करना था, वो flopped हो गया. And I did an argument on 2013. This is going to be flopped, and not only this, me. There are many people who really argued against it, but nothing can be done. Crores of rupees are spent to what is called work on Millennium Development Goal. World Bank pumped in so much of money. Work. Everywhere you find, every day, everybody is working MGT and all that. What is this? Eyewash? Yes, complete eyewash because of varieties of reasons, which I am going to speak to you along with them. Is the repetition of that. When it's flopped, then immediately took another stand, what's called Sustainable Development Goals. And again, I had a great encounter with the UNICEF people. They are also following the same thing. The big encounter on this whole thing. Well, this is the thing which have been going on. Like me, there are many people who have been really criticizing perspective, this and that and all that. There's not that everything is bad, but how logically relevant it is, whether it is reachable or not, given a certain constraint, is a question that needs to be discussed. We should not get swayed away emotionally by what is being spoken about. But then question is that suppose if you say the exploitation should be stopped, environmental pollution should be stopped, all these are ethically known. Every one of us agree with the fact that it should be stopped. But the question is how do you stop it? How do you stop it? Debate begins there. How do you want to stop it? Debate begins there. And you start from there. How do you going to stop it? Most of the things take it for granted that well, it's fine, it's happening. Yes, we agree with you, this has to happen, but how is going to happen? Keeping that in mind, the perspective is that the sustainable development. Now, why do you need sustainable development? Why do you have this question, doing development? This is again a big question. There is a lip service going on, lip service giving to the whole issue on the development and all that. Nobody talks about sustainable development in the operational terms of the concept. Now, it is because, let us get down to the practice. What is happening over there is the development crisis. There is a crisis of development, and development is sought through achieving higher growth rate accompanying the market fundamentalism. I think you must be those who are sociologists, those are pragmatic sociologists, I mean to say they were exposed to different types of sociological theories as well as the sociology of the changing, evolving society. And you should be knowing abstractly what is that I'm trying to talk about. Now here you have an aspiration of growth. And that has been there, what is called from the days of liberalization started into 1992. And the idea is that grow. Let us not talk too much of economism or economics. Simple बात है कि economic growth होएगा, बहुत economic growth होएगा. Even today also the government, central government is talking about. Even yesterday also when the other political party was there in the power, that has been the story. Mantra for development is nothing but growth. You have to have economic growth, and you leave the whole thing to market to decide. You don't bother about it. Market fundamentalism means it is something, a panacea. Market will take care of everything, and then you grow. This is what has been the strategy. This is the mool mantra of development. Now this has not only the story of India, the whole of third world countries is being duped by this kind of whole mantra. Now not possible for anybody to comprehend what is going to happen some 5 years after, what is going to happen after 10 years or so. And it is the critics like me who have been pointing out that this is going to happen and the crisis situation is going to come up and all that. And that is what has been evolving slowly, gradually. Not that possible for us to immediately understand that the climate change and the CUSB will be completely flooded with water. Not possible for us to complement that. But when it happens, then we say, yes, 20 years ago or 5 years ago, it was told and exactly it's happening. We realize only at that time. Now the question is that there's a IPCC, International Panel on Climate Change. They predicted the whole thing, what is going to happen, what is happening now in 1980, 82, 82, 83, 85. All these predictions are there, forecasters are there. But nothing was being taken note of, nothing was taken very seriously. Even today also Trump government has been saying that it's all bugbass. Of course he will have to say, because he has to say in the power. But there is a different issue that I'm not going to ask at the moment. But here the growth has been the mantra. Now growth, fine. I have no objection to that. And if that is the case, we all know the fact is this. अच्छा करके समझ लो that not a single study shows worthwhile that economic growth takes place and poverty goes up. Economic growth takes place, unemployment goes up. Not a single study all over the world shows. As a matter of fact, the economic growth takes place, concentration of wealth increases in a few hands. There are studies, Oxfam shows that 1% of the benefits of growth is benefits of growth at the world level is concentrated at the hands of 1% of the population, and 99% is out. And that is again the study by the Oxfam, the latest. The 8 or 12 people have more than 50% of the wealth of the poverty, rest of the population. So these are the stories going on. Even also Piketty, the recent French economist, after having done his research for 15 years, has shown how inequality has been increasing all over the world. Now, India also, there's a similar situation. You have a tremendous amount of inequality that's growing up. You have a growth, no doubt. You have unemployment at the same time. You have also concentration of wealth. At the same time, you are utilizing the resources to the extent that you want to grow. Could you follow me? How do you grow? What is the resource problem here? On the one hand, try to understand what I'm saying there. On the one hand, you have inequality. You have inequality to a tremendous extent. On the other hand, you have what is called unemployment problem not being resolved. It's a myth being created that if the growth takes place, the unemployment problem, to some extent it will be done, but not totally. It's a huge problem, is getting accumulated, unemployment problem. Now the question is that is also there. Now, all right. Now, where the resource question comes in, where you can grow only by utilizing, or economic growth can take place only by way of utilizing the natural resources that are there. Resources are converted into product. You wear shirt, you wear this one, you use specs, you eat everything. Each and everything comes the natural resources. Resources in varieties of forms. It gets converted, it gets transformed, and through processing, it finally products comes like this. But if you go back, you see it is resource available. And that is what exactly natural resource connection is, the transformation of the resources, the conversion of the natural resources into a final product. This is what happens in the process. So you want to grow, it means that if you want to grow, more, let's go, which one, this one, tell me which one? Oh.
Put it like this.
The
scroll.
It's okay. The logic of development, more use of resources, more commodification in an expansive market economy, more profit, more growth, and more economic development. That is what the logic is, very precise, simple terms. That is what you understand what it's all about. Logic of development, more use of resources. No, more growth means use more resources. And when you use more resources, the cost the society bears. How does it bear the cost? This is one thing. How does it happen? See, when you do it, it's the energy you are converting. More you use energy intensive product that you convert, it emits CO2. That is total output multiplied by the total how much emission per unit of emission of the CO2. So more you produce, more emission it creates. It generates and emits more emission of CO2. Okay? So growth means more emission of CO2. Let me tell you, there is a formula based on which is being worked out, but I'm not talking about that. Understand the fact that more you use the resources, natural resources, more emission of CO2 takes place. Now, where is this? And if they have a more use of emission of the natural resources, then CO2, then what happens? That every one of us know, climate change. How does it happen? We have the topography. You have from Earth to up to 11-12 kilometers. You must be, those who are student of geography, they must be knowing, or the development student of environmental sciences, they should be knowing. It's called troposphere. One troposphere, that is 12 kilometers. Within that you have got the water vapor. Water vapor है, and then उसमें भी कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड भी है. Now जब सन आता है, हीट होता है, वो हीट को एब्जॉर्ब करता है. ठीक है ना? जैसे एब्जॉर्ब करता है, then the earth keeps warm. ठीक है? Now इसलिए तो हम लोग ठंड में मरता नहीं है. ठीक है ना? इतना नहीं है, तो एब्जॉर्ब करता है. And that is the range between 12 kilometers from the planet Earth to this atmosphere. Within that range. Now if you have more carbon dioxide, more heat will be trapped. more heat will be trapped, and there's a climate change. And the climate change, again, I'm going to speak about a little more, what is exactly all about. Those who know about it, fine, and those who do not know, they also can understand in a very simple language. So that is there. And then after that stratosphere, you have what is called stratosphere. Again, from there, 12 kilometers to another 25 kilometers, you have that layer. And within that one, the lower part of it is very cool. The upper part is very hot, and there the ozone layer is there. And there you fed the ozone layer hole. And therefore the ultraviolet, of sunlight that penetrates through, and that causes a lot of problems. And this hole is taking place because of the pollution. Okay, now this is what is called basic sciences that everybody knows. Now we need to understand that in a very simple language. And this is all because of emission of CO2. And with this emission of CO2, who is the major contributor? It is a fossil fuel. Petroleum, coal, gas, these are the resources, the fossilized fuel. That is something which is more responsible, 90%, either in the vehicles or in the factory or anywhere. And the rest is something like that, something from other sources. But that is how this creation takes place. So this is a kind of a crisis. We are trapped mainly arising now. This is one thing. That means if you have more growth, more resources utilization, more CO2 emission, and more CO2, more climate change problem. And if you more climate change problem, what the repercussion? There are many studies there say. Agriculture will be topsy, industrial city will be located in different places, and all kinds of changes are going to take place, and economic impact will be much more adverse than what it has to be. So there are many studies which I do not quote over here. That is what exactly is seen. So that is one thing. Secondly, another problem is that increasingly leading us to be trapped by development crisis mainly arises from declining carrying capacity of the planet Earth. Carrying capacity of the planet Earth. Now let me understand about this carrying capacity. Very easy. Let me tell you one thing. You see, I was doing a study, and this is what I realized. I did considerably, quite a few, बहुत सारा research किया राजस्थान में जब था ideas पे, तो वहाँ पे पार्शल लैंड यूज़ किया, पार्शल लैंड को स्टडी किया. वहाँ पे गांव में पास हर गांव के पास 200 बीघा 300 बीघा 500 बीघा ज़मीन है जो भेड़ बकरी भैंस गाय सब चरने के लिए, ठीक है ना. तो एनिमल हस्बेंड्री इज ए ब्रेक प्रैक्टिस ओवर देयर. आप तो जानता है वहाँ पे तो बहुत इज ए वेरी वेरी सस्टेनेबल लाइवलीहुड फॉर द मेजर लार्ज नंबर ऑफ पॉपुलेशन ओवर देयर. No, this has been there since time immemorial. Okay. Now, when I was doing a study, I had the data from 1960 onwards and till today. Now, what happens, 60 में देख रहा है तुम्हारा कितना काई भीड़, सिंपल कितना भेड़ बुक कितना फैमिली है वहाँ पे. एक गांव में 50, 60, 70 होता है. इतना ही पर इंडिविजुअल आपको हाउस होल्ड इतना गाय भैंस होता है, सब कुछ होता है. नाउ आज के तारीख में यू फाइंड दैट मोर देन 3, 4, 5, 10 टाइम्स पॉपुलेशन, एंड इतना तुम गाय भैंस सब बढ़ता है. तो एक गांव में आपको जितना ज़मीन है कैरी करने के लिए गाय भैंस बकरी सब चरने के लिए जितना घास पैदा होता है, ठीक है, इट वाज एडिक्वेट, इट वाज गोइंग ऑन इंक्रीजिंग. सो ऑप्टिमल लेवल हो गया. उसके बाद फर्दर डाउन एंड देयर इज ह्यूज, एंड नाउ घास नहीं मिलता है, बालू मिलता है मैनी प्लेसेस, क्योंकि वो रूट भी खा लिया. सो द कैरिंग कैपेसिटी ऑफ द लैंड, maybe there are 25 animals or 40 animals or 50 animals. आज के तारीख में 500, 600, 700 animals. क्या करना जीने के लिए? सब चलेगा, माइग्रेशन में जा रहा है, वो जीना है कहीं पे जाएगा, वो भी बहुत रिस्की है. Anyway, I'm not getting into that. But the point is the carrying capacity of the plant. That's a very simplistic example I'm giving. But let me tell you a bit of what is called environmental economics language, science language. Availability of adequate biotic resources. You see, जितना resources है, let me very simplistically for the economists and the non-environmental economics, non-environmental people, non-environmental science people. You see, as I understand, somebody may correct me, is a biotic and abiotic resources. Human beings, जो living beings है, living species है, human beings, animal, plant, all are the living species. They are the biotic resources. And पानी होता है abiotic, पानी होता है, हवा होता है, these are abiotic. And what is the meaning of Om? O-A-U-M, Om, Om Namo Vishnu, Om Namo Surya कहता है. Anybody can raise your hand and say that what is the meaning of Om? Nobody knows, and everybody utters. I was not also knowing, I was uttering. But I went and checked up what is the meaning of Om. Have you know? Anybody? No. A stands for Akar. Akara. Akara में जिसको सेफ है, जिसको सेफ है, देख जाता है, प्लांट, ह्यूमन बीइंग, एनिमल, सेफ है, आकारा. यू, ऊकारा, जिसका कोई सेफ नहीं है, हवा, उसको सेफ नहीं है, उसको फील कर सकता है. You know, these are the, in our literature, ancient literature, is a kind of what, and M is makara, is a makara, is a dark energy. And which is why the scientists are claiming that the universe is expanding because of the dark energy. Little expanding university is good for the university, but that's a different story altogether. I'm not getting into that. So, Akara, Ukara, Makara, Om is nothing but combination of the energy of the entire universe. And any mantra that you utter, you start with that, उसको प्रणाम करके तुम करता है. This is something you address the very existence of the universe because of the combination of the forces that originate from Akara, Ukara and Makara. That is something which is very important for us to understand appropriately. I have been reading what's called Rig Veda, some part of it, to understand much more about the correlation between the two, the human civilization growth and the relation between, or the co-evolution of humanity and nature, how they co-evolve. That is something which has been written even in Rig Veda. Somebody told me and said, I'm going through, but that's a different issue. Now, the carrying capacity. Now, what happens, these biotic resources and abiotic resources, there is a kind of energy transformation always. Energy travels through from abiotic to the biotic and biotic to abiotic. That kind of, इसको कहता है biogeochemical cycle. इसको कहता है biogeochemical cycle. You have got nutrition cycle, you have the soil cycle, you have got all different types. For example, हम लोग बोलता है जे पेड़ से हम लोग ऑक्सीजन मिलता है, पेड़ नहीं काटना क्यों बोलता है? ऑक्सीजन मिलता है हम लोग, है ना? तो ठीक है, हम लोग तो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड छोड़ता है, कौन एब्जॉर्ब करता है? इतना फ्रेंडली पेड़ है, पेड़ एब्जॉर्ब कर लेता है, ठीक है ना? पेड़ एब्जॉर्ब करता है कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड एंड देन वो एब्जॉर्ब करके दे कन्वर्ट इट इज कार्बन, इसको सिक्वेस्टर करता है, टेक द होल कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड टू द रूट, उसको सिक्वेस्ट्रेशन प्रोसेस कहता है, एंड खाना पकाता है कार्बन में, एंड कार्बन से होके वो ग्रो करता है. सो द वन विच इज पॉइजन फॉर अस, trees take it, absorb it, convert that into food and grows and gives us rich oxygen. This is called soil cycle, soil chemistry. That is something, a cycle. And that cycle, if you have cut many trees and therefore oxygen आपको नहीं करता, so there is no transformation, no travel of this energy from one to another. And which is why this is, so the biochemical cycle. Another example I am giving you, see this is leaf egg. During the Industrial Revolution in UK, during that time, agriculture बहुत commercialized हुआ था. Agriculture जैसे commercialized हुआ था, तो the soil chemist leaf from Germany and one Houston from UK, both of them discovered that मिट्टी से जो खेती होता है ना, वो खेती से जो पैदावार होता है, सब सिटी में चला जाता है. So all the minerals, तो पोटासियम मैग्नीशियम जो भी है मिनरल्स खेती मिट्टी में, वो मिट्टी से एब्सॉर्ब करके क्यों लेके चला जाता है. तो गेहूँ खाता है, गेहूँ का वो सब वहाँ पे चावल खाता है, वो सब जो केमिकल एलिमेंट्स मिलता है कहाँ से मिलता है? मिट्टी से आता है. दैट गिव्स यू थ्रू योर क्रॉप एंड नाउ इट इज़ ऑल बीइंग ट्रांसपोर्टेड टू द अर्बन एरियाज. तो मिट्टी को क्या मिल रहा है? मिट्टी खत्म हो रहा है. नाउ इट इज़ अ बिग कर्व एंड दे कॉल इट दिस काइंड ऑफ अ रिफ्ट व्हेन देयर इज नो साइकिल बिटवीन बायोटिक एंड एबायोटिक cycle of these forces, then there is a rift between, इसको कहता है human beings and the nature, इसको कहता है metabolic rift. The metabolic relation between human being and the nature, the way it is there, it has been there, is being broken, is rift taking place because this kind of exchange or this energy is not traveling from one source to another, and that is the biggest trouble, and that reduces the carrying capacity of the planet Earth in a very wider sense of the term. That is something which is going to create, not to be felt the problem immediately, but it gradually creates a problem, and finally it ends up with creating a havoc in the whole of this universe. That is something which need to be realized. And next is that is what I call is a metabolic rift. So So that is what I told, that higher the expropriation of nature, wider is the rift between human nature and carrying capacity of the ecosystem declines. It is carrying somewhere now. Again, the sustainable development people in the Bratland report 1987, what is that he indicated? Again the question, the issue is very important for us. It's because we are struggling with the day-to-day problem, and the core structure that we have evolved is basically something which is borrowed from the Western countries, primarily so, and most of the economics as well. But the economics that we have been teaching all along is something which originated immediately after the Industrial Revolution by looking at the behavior, the pattern of the people, not empirical basis that you have. You don't have an empirical basis why the Pareto optimality takes place. You don't have the empirical basis based on which you can talk about how the demand curve is drawn. Nothing of that kind goes on. It's completely notional. That is what we have been teaching all over throughout the university. Everywhere we learned, and that is how we do planning and all that. That is a different issue for us to talk about. We are not talking about it. But the point here is that the carrying capacity is something which needs to be understood. Carrying capacity of today and carrying capacity of future. The Bratland report in 1987 they worked it out. देखो जितना कैरिंग कैपेसिटी आज के तारीख में है केवल वो बात नहीं है, आपको हमारा फ्यूचर जनरेशन क्या गया, तुम लोग जो बड़ा होगा जाओ आफ्टर 50 years or so, maybe that you face a big resource crunch, you not get anything. Somebody said that अरे नया टेक्नोलॉजी आ जाएगा, नया टेक्नोलॉजी तो आ रहा है, अभी इलेक्ट्रिक कार आ रहा है. You know the cost of electric car and other technology something, you read those things, it's very easy to speak about. Even for that matter, I can tell you one more thing. Jatropa cultivation, Jatropa, this discussion came up in a World Bank meeting and I am taking a few from there. Jatropa cultivation. You know Jatropa, tell me who knows about Jatropa cultivation? Raise your hand. Yes, fantastic. You are the only person who knows. Anybody else? Yes, you know. Very good. I think Jatropa cultivation is nothing but, yes, some of you know. I am so happy that at least know. Why for? It's a substitute of petrol. Because it is facing the petroleum crisis. The study that we had at that time, that पेट्रोल जो आप फॉसिल फ्यूल है ना वो पेट्रोल खत्म हो जाएगा. ये स्टडी हो गया, सब लोग पता है कि 2000, क्योंकि दैट इज द लिमिटेड, दैट इज नॉन रिन्यूएबल रिसोर्सेज, इज नॉट द प्लान पता तुम काट दो 2 दिन बाद फिर आएगा. जो स्टॉक है खत्म हो जाएगा, बस पत खत्म, क्या करेगा 25 इतना गाड़ लेके सब पैदल में चलना पड़ेगा. Once it so happened that in 88, 89, there was a seminar going on in NISD, National Institute of Rural Development. I was there, and at that time, that Professor the economist, agriculture economist, professor from South, Subramaniam, what is his name? Saminathan. Professor Saminathan, no. MS Swaminathan, that is very good. MS Swaminathan, he was their person inaugurating. So discussion was going on, कब 87 or 88, I forgot. तो मैं उनको I raised a question. तो सर एक बात माने is relevant. I mean I felt happy. I never realized that I will be able to, but something which एक दिन आ रहा है तो हम लोग, he was speaking about this one, petroleum crisis in that time also. So एक दिन आएगा हम लोग को बुलोक काटी ठीक होगा. So everybody started laughing. He said, no, this is exactly is going to happen. Bullock cart is the thing which was there, is a mode of transportation some years ago, is going to come back for this one as a substitute because petroleum is going to be scarce. And now it vividly, there were hundreds of studies taken place, including the studies being done by the Petroleum Institute University. All the same, there is a limited availability of petrol. Of course, it is a renewable, non-renewable resource. Gas is a non-renewable resource. So it has a limit. Then how to go about it? Immediately the World Bank spent thousands and thousands of crores of rupees. Incentive was given to hundreds of people from the multinational companies and all that. And eventually they got some thousands of hectares of land in Africa, Latin America, and many other countries of the world. And वहाँ पर huge area being brought under the cultivation of what is called Jatropa. क्योंकि वो सब्स्टिट्यूट होगा पेट्रोल का, ठीक है, तो बहुत बढ़िया बात है. तो पेट्रोल में क्राइसिस होगा तो कोई, लेकिन लुक, अमेरिका हैज़ अ ग्रेट डिपॉजिट बट दे आर नॉट स्पेंडिंग अ सिंगल थिंग. दे आर ऑल डिपेंडिंग ऑन द रेस्ट ऑफ द कंट्रीज, एंड दैट्स व्हाई द इराक इज वन ऑफ द बेस्ट. आई एम नॉट गेटिंग इनटू दैट व्हाई द वॉर टुक प्लेस इराक एंड द अदर कंट्रीज. दैट इज अ डिफरेंट स्टोरी ऑल टुगेदर. आई एम नॉट गेटिंग इनटू दैट, बट द फैक्ट ऑफ द मैटर इज द जात्रोपा कल्टिवेशन. नाउ देन जात्रोपा कल्टिवेशन फाइन. जैसे कल्टिवेशन सो एग्रीकल्चर लैंड को जात्रोपा कल्टिवेशन शुरू कर दिया, देयर इज अ ह्यूज क्राइसिस ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर गुड्स, एंड द अपर रन वाज टेकन बाय द MNC. Because 7 to 8 MNCs have the control of 75% of the world agricultural produces all over the world. Seeds, seeds and other things, marketing, all have the control of the 5, 7 or 8, 75% of the control at the hands of. So, फायदा हो गया. There is a crisis of agricultural supply. So, फायदा उठाओ. So, super number profit. That also has given. Now, question the crisis of agriculture. There are many studies where agriculture prices were coming down. Why doesn't the price come down? आप बताइए. Economics should tell. You all teach about the perfect competitive market. है ना? We are all talking about this. We are all talking the perfectly competitive market. In a perfectly competitive market or market, if there is a competition, average price should come down. Average price of the, why the people from Bihar in the rural areas, they pay huge amount of money for the seed, which they purchase from the market. Why? Price should come down if the market is not competitive. It's an IWAS. Market is quasi-oligopolistic. Let's put it very blunt. Wellston has argued in his paper, sociologist. He's a very good, famous Wallstein, wall system theory, the person. He has argued vehemently in many papers that something which is, you must have heard of Wallstein. So he has written this one. How the market in the world over, especially the third world countries, you find the markets are not very mature. And there it is the quasi-oligopoly market that works. And which is why farmers of Bihar, farmers of any part of the country, they have to purchase not the traditional seed, जो पहले जो system था, अभी market से seed खरीद करो and seed खरीद करके तुम लगाओ, आपको ज़्यादा फायदा होगा. And the price that you pay here, the same price is not there in China. Same price is not there. They have the prices in different places. According to the situation, they make profit. India is the country where the prices are charged higher. And that is what exactly the market is all about. We need to address the market structure also before we talk about this. Something which is being taught to us, and that is what exactly American university is finding it difficult. For example, they say that they teach us the market is competitive. World Bank teaches the market is competitive. And competitive, every booklet, every literature you open, you start the competition. Look at America. What is happening? There's a protective mechanism they are giving. They are not looking for the trade theory. That is one. They are simply giving protection tariff. No free market of that kind. That is the duality. That is the dualism. Not today. It has been there right from the days of Industrial Revolution. When the Industrial Revolution took place, it is Adam Smith who provided this whole thing. But he knew very well the market was very much monopolistic at that time. And that is what the marketilism came out. This is basically you export more, earn more money, and so on. So I'm not getting into that theory, but basically that is what the background is. So we need to really destroy, demolish the myth being created. The competitive market is a myth. It is not taking place that way. That is precisely what we are facing today because of higher prices and all that. Now the question is that this so carrying capacity that I am talking about, आज के तारीख जो carrying capacity of the planet, and tomorrow what these people are going to do? Are they going to really produce? Are they going to be able to feed themselves properly? The question is no. So you have to keep something for them for the future. That is what the Bertrand report said. Now it is being said that nothing, all rubbish. Now therefore Bertrand report has become irrelevant. It is being irrelevant. Who has made that irrelevant? Not the Indian country, not any other third world country. It is all the vested countries who have the vested into the system. All the 6 developed countries, they say that nothing doing. अभी जो चल रहा है चलने दो. Business is called, within quote, business as usual. And that is what exactly it is all about. Now, the carrying capacity of tomorrow, जो है खा लो, बाद में देखा जाएंगे. क्या करेंगे? Electric, nothing. Electric vehicle is unsustainable. And Jethropa. Now, Jethropa, I inquired with the people who convert the Jethropa in the practice. How many people can do it? How many companies? Some few companies can make it. It is completely uneconomical as of today. We look for a new technology. Now, new technology आएगा, इसको सुधरेंगे. But you do not want to change the system. All you are saying then in your defense that technology आएगा, सब ठीक ठाक है. But why don't you say the system is problematic? System of production, system of consumption, system of investment that you are following down today is a problematic, is not fetching the right kind of situation for you to survive and grow. Why don't you say that one? You say no, सब ठीक ठाक है. अभी नया टेक्नोलॉजी आएगा, ये प्रॉब्लम को फेस करने नहीं देगा. नया टेक्नोलॉजी तो बहुत आ गया. Then why do you have such an inequality? Why there is a great amount of impoverishment? What does the economics talk about? Only promises. We are no different from the politicians. My point is very clear. no different. We only want to survive and want to promise, never get into reality. I ask the question in very importance. Tell me, how do you see these problems of poverty? How do you see remove this one? ये करना होगा, वो करना, अरे करना तो होगा, अलग बात है, जो किया वो किया नहीं हुआ, इसका जवाब दो. There is no जवाब. This is the question that need to be really answered, and academicians like you, who is a sacred profession in terms of his value neutrality to speaking the truth, the right thing, and right question, and right answer, right critic to develop, instead of getting aligned with what's the vested interest in academics, it's extremely important for us to really raise the right question. No question of school of thought, no question of ideology of this school, that school. No, you have an independent stand. Take your position, make yourself very clear, and therefore prove the point. That is where exactly you stand by. I think that is very important for us to really, we need to think about. Now, the question is, how do you meet human development goals of today and tomorrow without destroying the carrying capacity of the planet Earth of today and tomorrow? And without, that means that carrying capacity तुम जो आप जो बात कर रहे हैं, उसको जो human development goal जो है आज के तारीख में, और carrying capacity काल जो होगा, उसको हम लोग destroy नहीं करेंगे. और दूसरा condition है क्या? We cannot undermine the integrity and stability of the natural system. Integrity and stability of the natural system opting कर नहीं कर पाएगा. But we are doing everything. We are destroying this. We are destroying it. Just a few months ago, few years ago, when I was the director of ANC, I contacted the water development department. I said, take steps. गंगा का किनारे तुम सोचता पानी बहुत मिलता है, एक व्यक्ति 2 बाल्टी में नहाता है तो 5 बाल्टी यूज़ करता है ना? तुम तो यूज़ करता 5 बाल्टी, है ना? सब लोग एक बार There are people who are we used to use. Now so much of water is there. हम बोलते हैं अरे गंगा का पानी है, कोई दिखे पानी कभी खत्म नहीं होगा. अरे बहुत बढ़िया बोला. अच्छा, I come from Rajasthan. I know the kind of crisis or problem of water. Now then I told this department, do something, have a project with us, maybe free of cost, but then we are something. This is purely based on my perception. So around, the गंगा का किनारे जितना गांव है वहाँ पर कुछ ना कुछ करना पड़ेगा and all that. They started laughing. No sir, नहीं कुछ नहीं होगा. There is no problem. They trivialized them. Now just a few months ago, I was told that the government is taking step, to elevate the what is called the water level. Water level going down and down and down. This is something which is there everywhere. You are not able to realize, not the government, because they don't participate. They don't perceive perception. But then when the problem occurs, then immediately firefighting and all that. Why don't you have such kind of perception to see that you do not tinker with the resource space? The moment you do it, it will create a havoc in the later phase of your career, in life. And such is what is happening and all that. We have failed to issues. Now, we have failed to address this issue. हम लोग fail किया. Since we seem to be increasingly getting trapped by this crisis of development due to environmental degeneration, then manifesting through. There are 3-4 ways a environmental degeneration manifest कर रहा है. एक तो मैं बता दिया था metabolic rift, and second is climate change. Look, and then on climate change I have spoken, but let me tell you. So climate change is basically what is the debate that many of you have been knowing. Pre-industrial revolution के पहले जितना आपको ये था टेम्परेचर तक था द वर्ल्ड, ना उससे हम लोग को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लेटेस्ट जो पेरिस एग्रीमेंट हुआ, देयर आर quite a few agreements went on going on. There are many arguments, I do not want to discuss about it. दे इसको कम करना पड़ेगा, इसको करना पड़ेगा. लेटेस्ट है 2015 पेरिस एग्रीमेंट. उसके बोला 2 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड से उसके नीचे करना पड़ेगा. सो 1.5 तक रखना पड़ेगा. ट्रम्प उसको डंप किया. Nothing doing, rubbish on all that. Trump, the president of America. So, nothing doing. So, what happens, this is disturbing. You throw it off or keep it here. हाँ, उसको लगा दूँ. तो then उसके पहले, now you have the Kuwaiti protocol and all that. Again, that was a big problem. Nobody is ignoring. All developing countries, mind it, historically speaking, 6 developed countries are responsible for 90% of the climate change. This is documented. It's not that I'm biased against or for, but this documented. 6 countries of the world, 90% of the climate change or climate variation or the temperature, and all in the name of development, economic development, for fair competition, and all that. These are the factors. But behind it, utilize the resources to the extent that you can. And therefore, आज के में तो MNC का है, I am accountable to management. 5,000 करोड़ रुपया कमाना है, तो मरने दो, परसों क्या होगा पता नहीं है. What my children is going to do, forget about it. That is what the sentiment is all about. It's a corporatization of the whole economy. In that sense, nothing against it. If the corporate sector can do a better thing, I will be the first person to accept it. But the point is that they cannot do, because basically your basic thrust is make profit and accumulate. That is the whole problem, and that is what. So the climate change is a big serious problem which is going to take a gigantic form in the days to come. Second is unequal ecological exchange. Unequal ecological exchange is a very important thing. Now, आप गांव में काम करते हैं, ये तो यहाँ पे लिखा है loss of use value, loss of regenerative capacity, rural economy, value of embodied energy is less than. Now, very simple. This is what my study shows. I've done a great big study, and I found that now गांव से जो आप लेके आता है ना, तो वो तो use value है, and finally gets in exchange with a huge amount of. Now, basically, what the regenerative capacity of the soil goes down. For example, राजस्थान में एक गांव स्टडी का ऑक्सफोर्ड हैज पब्लिश्ड. सो देयर क्या देखा था, उसमें क्या देखा था, सच तो पानी का प्रॉब्लम है, तो वहाँ पे फर्टिलाइजर इस्तेमाल करने लगा. गोबर का खाद जो मिल रहा था उसे फॉरगेट अबाउट इट. यू हैव टू मेक मोर प्रॉफिट, यूज फर्टिलाइजर, परचेज सीड्स फ्रॉम द मार्केट, एमएनसी, डू इट एवरी ईयर. यू हैव टू परचेज, सेम सीड नहीं चलेगा, तो परचेज सीड, प्लांट इट, मोर प्रॉफिट. ठीक है ना, कर दिया, 1 साल 2 साल हो गया, उसके बाद धीरे धीरे देखा जाए नो प्रॉफिट, यूज मोर फर्टिलाइजर, मोर, क्योंकि यील्ड तो बढ़ाना है ना, मोर फर्टिलाइजर, पुट मोर फर्टिलाइजर, परचेज बेटर क्वालिटी ऑफ सीड, डू पॉइंट, दिस एंड दैट, वॉट एवर मे बी, परचेज, डू इट. फाइनली क्या हुआ, व्हाट इज हैपन, यू नो सब क्या हो रहा है गाँव में. यू नो दिस मिट्टी का पोरोसिटी बोल के एक चीज़ होता है. जो बरसात होता है, इफ द पोरोसिटी इज वेरी गुड ऑफ द मिट्टी, देन द मिट्टी पानी अंदर जाता है, तो पानी का सॉइल का मॉइस्चर कंडीशन इंटैक्ट रिमेन, एंड वो फसल के लिए अच्छा होता है ना. मॉइस्चर कंडीशन इज द प्राइमरी कंडीशन फॉर द एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोड्यूसर्स. मॉइस्चर अच्छा होगा तो थोड़ा बारिश में भी ठीक काम चल जाएगा, लेकिन मॉइस्चर खत्म हो जाएगा. दैट इज दिस ऑल आई लर्न फ्रॉम द फार्मर्स. नाउ पोरोसिटी वो खत्म है, क्योंकि वहाँ जब बारिश होता है वो इतना कॉन्क्रीट फॉर्म ले लिया बिकॉज ऑफ द यूज ऑफ हायर डोज ऑफ फर्टिलाइजर, एंड उसमें कॉम्बिनेशन ठीक से नहीं बैठाया, तो क्या हो, पानी सब नीचे चला जाता है, पानी गोज ऑफ, रन्स ऑफ, एंड देन नो पानी इज अरेस्टेड, एंड वो नहीं होता तो पानी नीचे नहीं होता, मॉइस्चर कंडीशन खत्म होता है एग्रीकल्चर. सो you tend to lose more and more. And not only that, the other effect is there, disease, variety of disease coming up, which was not the unseen disease. पहले जो तक था वो disease आ रहा है सब कुछ. This is the study, we have studied it. And now उसके बाद how the transformation took place, some NGOs came forward and started undoing what was done. ठीक है, तो वर्मी कंपोस्ट वगैरह सब लेके करना शुरू कर दिया, वाटर शेड डेवलपमेंट किया, एंड ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ थिंग्स आर देयर. नाउ इट इज रेस्टोर्ड, सिस्टम इज नेचुरल एग्रीकल्चरल सिस्टम वाज रेस्टोर्ड, जो completely distorted because of profit. Now the profitability has come down, but certainly they are not at loss. But what is gaining there? Health is gained, soil health is gained back, human health is gained back, and there is a different kind of society altogether. That is what exactly the human and the nature is related to each other. We need to understand that fact before you take up any economic operation. But now some neoclassical economists will go into the field and draw some production function. And this is all rubbish. Finally, what exactly the truth is that is something which is being hidden. Nobody is going to explore. We need to explore that related to the what is called econometric analysis or economic analysis, and so how profitable this is going to sustain for a longer time, and therefore it could be beneficial for the farmers at large. That is what exactly the methodology of understanding economics is something need to be critical about. But anyway, that is a different story. I'm not going to talk more about it. So there's regenerative capacity of the rural economy that goes down. And secondly, another thing was embodied energy. इसको कहते हैं embodied energy. Some economists have worked on it. I have tried to see this one. Now, embodied energy is less than the money economy. Now, the money that suppose you purchase parwal or you purchase some other agricultural goods. Now, उसको जो energy embodied energy है, and the money price that you are giving, the embodied energy is price, actual price be more than the money prices. Okay, so the more than, say for example, now again back to Rajasthan, आपको घास खाता है, कौन खाता है? कौन? भेड़ बकरी खाता है. Now घास से क्या होता है? भेड़ बकरी से क्या होता है? You have wool, you have sweater, you have the woolen clothes, the woolen industry comes up. You have milk industry, the dairy and all that. You have leather industry. There are 3 industries which come up based on these resources, these animal resources. These animal, they eat grass in the pasture land. So grass is converted into the final product. Grass is converted into, you can't see this final product in the form of grass, but you say wool, but it is actually nothing but the manifestation of the grass only. So that manifestation takes place. Now what happens now, that is the time when I wrote a piece on that is way back in 2000, yeah, to 1997 I presented also in some very international forum that I never knew about this concept of embodied energy at that time, but only think that the value which is going away, the actual use value is much more than the price that is being paid. So which is why there is a disequilibrium between this one, and therefore they are not being paid, and therefore the pasture land is bound to suffer like this, because it's going to have this one problem. So that is something. And the last is that environmental injustice. Now see, you must have those who are students of economics and political sciences, you must be knowing about what is called Raoult's thesis on justice. Okay, yeah, Raoultian thesis of justice. What did they say? His basic point is that Raoultian thesis, in the welfare economics we have read the Raoultian thesis. What is that? He said that it is the structure, social structure, the economic structure, that finally matters for the distribution of the resources among the people. Now what happens here? That environmental justice is not being done because the way the structures are being designed. So it is the poor people who bear the cost of it, and it is the rich people who gets the benefit of it. So that is what the environmental cost is being distributed, but the distribution is such biased against the poor people. Majority of the cost, maximum of its cost is being borne by the poor people. So if the structure you have designed, unless and until you dilute the structure, remove the structure, redesign the structure, this will continue. Nobody can do anything. This will continue. Let us accept this fact. It never happened, and therefore we need to address the problem of structure. That is Raoultian thesis. As if I am correct, if I am wrong, please correct me. So that is what environmental injustice is perpetrated throughout the world because of these developed countries and developing countries. Now why is there no people never take a developing problem, environmental problem in the big countries? All this being talked about, mostly third world countries, because again the cost of what is called environmental problems are being distributed in such a way that you find it is these poor people, the poor countries that are most sufferer. There are some studies who have shown also this kind of thing, but Raoultian thesis is something which is very important for us to remember about this one. Then, अरे इसको तुम So this I have already told, several meetings, summit, treaty, agreement at the international level since 1972, Stockholm, Rio, IPCC, Kyoto Protocol, Copenhagen, Paris Agreement, सब एक के बाद हो गया, एक के बाद सब हो रहा है. Nothing is coming out. Nothing is coming out. As a matter of Copenhagen, I remember I wrote a piece in mainstream at that time. Copenhagen में ओबामा आया था. 4-5 country, काफी देश थर्ड वर्ल्ड कंट्रीज में led by Cuban president, what is his name? Fidel Castro की lead किया, and to all the developing countries to draft a resolution as to how to go about this. Obama came on the last day. Now you are a developing country where Papua New Guinea, you survive on his fund. Why do we ally with him? Go and ally. जैसे ओबामा आ गया, so immediately all the development countries who are being funded by this Obama, when American government, all kept together and उसको dismantle कर दिया, खत्म हो गया. So Copenhagen 0. Okay, now the Paris Agreement, Trump is completely denying what is given. So what I'm trying to say, you have the international treaty number of times, all this is going on, but eventually nothing is coming out. Why? Why doesn't it come out? Despite 3 decades of exercise undertaken at the international level, environmental degradation continues. The unsustainability issues haunts us. But why does it happen? Because, as I understand, you may disagree with me completely, but let me put forward my understanding to you. I may be wrong. We never seek solution without questioning the extant development paradigm. We need to know what the development paradigm today we are following. And that is exactly a paradigm that is in existence, the paradigm that gives us, paradigm nothing but organizing principles of economy, organizing principles of running the society and economy. In a way, the resources are being distributed, resources are being given to appropriate situation to see that everything takes place in a proper manner. So the organizing principle, that paradigm that is have, we never question. We said this is fine. And the question is that, does the development paradigm succeed? Now, here, don't get too much into this one, as I have spoken too much, but then the stock and flow of resources, that is what I talked about. The system of production, consumption, resource allocation, all these are determined by, in this paradigm, who determines it? You have, it is the capital. You have land, labor, capital, organization, economics in the class 10 is being taught. And those who are students of economics, and those non-students of economics, they also should be knowing that is basically, these are the factors of production that is always there. Now, what is happening? It is the capital, the cash of production, all these are determined by the capital. It's nothing but, if the capital determines what is the production that will be taken up, how the consumption behavior should be changed to suit the interest of the capital. It is the interest of the capital based on which a resource allocation takes place. It is the capital and capital. If you have capital, they decide how to proliferate this capital. 5,000 रुपया है, उसको 10,000 रुपया कैसे करना पड़ेगा, 10,000 से 10 लाख रुपया कैसे करना पड़ेगा, and 10 lakh से 10 crore कैसे करना पड़ेगा. That is the natural tendency of capital. Capital is meant to be sized that in this kind of a paradigm. Okay, now I have defined capital, logic of capital in a different context altogether, in a different paper. If you come across some EPW paper from mine, I have done it. But that is not. In this paradigm, your logic of capital is this. It is a tendency, natural tendency to proliferate, to expand, to increase, and all that. How does it do it? It system of production जो हमारे को पास है उसको इन्फ्लुएंस करना चाहता है, consumption behavior को change करता है, and consumption resource allocation also, how the resource to be allocated and all that is also being done. It is the capital that decides how nature or land-based resources like fossil fuel, forest, water body, human, animal habitat could be used for its interest. This is what one learns from the development process. It has intensified with the onset of globalization. So basically, it is nothing but predominant or the dominance of capital, and because of its interest, all these are being utilized. That is what exactly it's all about. You need to really see how really it could be diluted, how it is possible for us to have a different kind of, Gandhiji's, I yet to come this paper, 2 साल पहले Nitish government organized a centenary celebration of Mahatma Gandhi. So I was invited to speak on development, on environment and Gandhi's thought and all that. There I, while searching the literature, I found a very interesting thing. Gandhiji, I don't know. At that time, he was very much aware what's going to happen to the environment. He was at that time very much as an Indian. He thought, he wrote that this is something, this resource utilization of this kind should be stopped, and which is why he never advocated for large industrialization. He always looked for what is called cottage industries, small industries, because 2 reasons. 1, hands should be utilized, and 2, resources could be preserved. That's the 2 things. His concern for environment was of a different kind, which is why he thought the rural economy should be the center of growth and development. Not what is called big cities, but the center of growth and the rural economy where resources can be preserved and hands can be utilized, so employment generation can take place. His concern for environment was something which is very different, and that is what he was never heard. He was sidelined, never heard even 1946-47 when this draft resolution of economic planning was taking place. Nothing of that kind is only lip services being given. Oh, Gandhi, khadi bana do, bas, ho gaya, bas. Gandhi was understood very mechanically, taken not very seriously, which is why today we have a problem of huge unemployment. At the same time, what's called resource exhaustibility, to the extent that we would like to satisfy the thirst of what's called the corporate sector, the one which never been relevant to the development of the poor people of hundreds of thousands of millions of poor people of country like India. That is what exactly it's all about. Now, during after the globalization, you see, this whole process got intensified because globalization gave free hand to the corporate sector. Globalization said that we whole thing to the market, and therefore no question of any limit to that one. So how do you look beyond? This is where I would like to stop. And then I have worked out on this one. An international seminar I conducted a few years ago, on this whole thing on a different alternative paradigm. You need to seek an alternative paradigm. Don't criticize me personally, but not here. You do criticize. Now, how do you go about it? It's being done also. Alternative paradigm. You need to look at an alternative development paradigm. You are critical, but the most important thing is that it is very easy to criticize, but it's very difficult for us to come out with the alternative. Very difficult for us to. And the debate should begin from the alternative. ठीक है, समझ गया. I raised a question, some economics, very famous economists. सब अब तो हमेशा बोलते हैं ये हो रहा है, ये हो रहा है, ये होना चाहिए. बट ये तो पहले पूछिए कि क्यों हुआ? ये तो मेरे को जवाब दीजिए क्यों हुआ? उसे कैसे रेक्टिफाई करेंगे? You are completely silent. This is something ridiculous. We are avoiding, we are escaping from the truth. We are not able to give a solution. And the solution which comes through the government is thinking that is quite ideal. What the government is thinking, we take a position there. But you as an intellectual, you as an academician, have total exposure to the ideas and thinking and ideologies. You take a position, say this is good and this is, let it be criticized by all. And that's something which is very important for us to recognize. Is something which is lacking very widely in the academic circle. And that we need to be very aware of this kind of a problem. So what I could gather here, if you really want to get out of this kind of thing, what is very important for you is that we need to get out of what is called the self-maximization, that is abandoning the principle of methodological individualism. Let me put it very simple. It's basically self-interest maximization, atomistic individualism. That is something which cannot be really totally taken for granted. You need to have what is called, I call it, I have argued in many forums, reciprocal altruism. It's called reciprocal altruism is the reciprocity between the individuals, and therefore comprehensive cooperation of a different kind. Some of the economics talk about comprehensive cooperation. You need to replace this very ideological understanding of the one from coming from the extant development paradigm, that is methodological individualism, self-interest and all that. From there you need to go for what is called that reciprocal mutual altruism. You understand what mutual altruism is? Mutual altruism, that is mutually, we support each other. We are also the comprehensive cooperation, that kind of, I am the person, therefore I need to make profit and I need to see that how the society develops and that. Nothing of that kind. I am the person. I want to thirst my greed. It's a greed and greed and greed. Whole of development is based on what's called greed. And the effect of it is, well, while meeting my greed, if some development takes place, if some employment takes place, oh, it's great. Of course, some people have to be recruited, but eventually what is happening? The major concentration of the entire process of change and growth is coming to me. You are getting the benefits of what's remaining in your place to work for me, and that's what it is. So, people must learn how to develop a world beyond capital and valorize. As I talked to you about the capital is driven, I think you need a capital, but you develop it in different framework altogether. Look at the logic of capital in different way, conceive it in different way. Is it not possible to ask to compete? If it is not inherent the capital. I've looked into the definition of capital. It's not that capital, जिसमें ही लगाएंगे capital ऐसे behave. No. Depend upon where you are putting the capital, in which context you are putting the capital. So capital will behave accordingly. So, and then valorize yourself. Your valorization of the individual people has to take place. That is something which is very important for us to ask. And then last point is that I am quite enlightened by some of the works by Dell. It's a very good environmental economics. He said that we need to operate what is called the biophysical limits, limit between the two. One limit between which our natural resources are not exhausted. So if you draw a curve between the two, it is something like that. एक लिमिट है जिसमें for natural resource को इस्तेमाल नहीं कर पाएगा, वहाँ तक रुक जाएगा, and the limit beyond which well-being of the people never falls. is your ethico-social limit. The egg beyond, जैसे economy should not operate where the welfare of the people falls, and एक जगह लिमिट होगा जिसमें हम लोग नेचुरल इशू को ज़्यादा इस्तेमाल करेंगे. सो इट इज़ फ्रॉम द ओरिजिन इट गोज लाइक दिस द कर्व. Okay, so the economy should operate within these limits, and that is where it is possible for us to look for what is called, and this could be possible based on comprehensive cooperation that we talk about. This could be based on reciprocal altruism that we are talking about. Not can be achieved through what is called methodological individualism or self-interest maximism principle, which the extant development paradigm teaches us. We need to really go away from it and seek something. What I'm speaking is something is not what is called the truth only. My purpose here to provoke you to think something very different. Let it go to hell, but you think something different and come out with something very good suggestion. With a great mind, with a young mind, it's possible for you to work for something very different. It has a tremendous cost. People will reject you initially, but at the end of the day, you will see how it is you are being accepted by the large number of people for your understanding that something. We need to tell ourselves that we have to develop. Please, it is the time for us to not look for advices from the outside the world. The colonial legacy is working in different forms altogether. Now, we can do, we can think, we can work, we can think. That is something which is very important for us, and therefore if we see 1,000 times if we tell a visit, it is possible to come out with something very different and new, and I will stop at that. Thank you all so much for the patient hearing. Any question, I am free to answer. I am ready to answer. Very good. Thank you so much. I don't know whether I have been able to put across my point, but this is what exactly it's all about.
Ownership, and there are other actors which play into it. So in this kind of a situation, even if you talk about small scale growth or say the Schumacher small is beautiful model, you at all need the market. So if, for example, to make my question more pointed, like say we talk about sustainable and we say let's go for bamboo cups, let's not go for plastics. Who would fund the those cups? It at all needs a market to come into the principle. So I mean, it is fashionable and lofty to talk about market skepticism at one point, but at the same, and I think that is something which the sustainable development. I mean, I'm not a proponent for the UN, but I think there is a very terse strategy that they have put when they say that in the Millennium Development Goals, you take this north-south divide, and when you talk about sustainable development goals, I mean, of course, sustainable development is not a myth. It, of course, exists. Whether it is attainable or not is something else. So, I would like you to really say that on one hand, when you tell that 9 companies control, a certain amount of agricultural production, that is true. I mean, cartels will be there, market oligarchy will be there. But when you talk about people-centered development, they will have to at all pool in money. So if I have a lovely entrepreneurial idea, who will fund my idea if the market does not exist? So I don't know. I mean, on one,
this is the point.
The point is about.
This is one point.
And that's the only point that I do not make sense as to how your market skepticism holds true for sustainable development goals.
Yes. This is very both answer. I want this kind of question much more, very more. See this, just because I know the answer. If I don't, but I am honest, I say no, I do not know. But let me tell you, you see the market, I am not against the market. Market for exchange of goods and services. But when you make it fundamental, when the market is instrumental to commodify the resources, you know commodification. Now then the problem lies, and the market is being instrumental to generate resources for a few people. Then there is a problem. You have a market. You have to be a market. You had a market in the previous time. You had a market every time. Market has to be there. Now the market is used for whom and for what is a big question. That is resolved. And unless and until you market, how is it possible for you to exchange the resources from one for another? That is there. So that is what is necessary for us to meet the market here. And the market structure. Well, you have a market. I want a market which is perfectly competitive. Don't have the oligopolistic market. Fine. That is exactly. But I am saying the market has to be there. Could you follow me? That's okay. Next. Yes, come on. Your question should be heard by everybody. Huh?
So this year, the Niti Aayog has confirmed that India's green cover has been improved by 1 percentage point. How do you see this change?
Nothing. 1% was nothing, and I don't know about the statistics.